Hey, grade 7s, welcome to lesson 12.1, the beginning of chapter 12, Changing Societies in the West. Was the impact of Canada's immigration policy, which we learned last chapter, on each of the people in Western Canada positive or negative? The chapter concept we are going to be learning about in this chapter is people and policies. Today's lesson, we'll take a look at some of the vocabulary and a couple of other things. So stick around and let's learn something. Oh, it's chapter 12, Changing Societies in the West. This is part of Unit 2. This is post-Confederation Canada. And the question being answered: was the impact of Canada's immigration policy on each of the people in Western Canada a positive or a negative? And that's what we're going to find out in this chapter 12. The concept that we're going to be taking a look at is people and policies. And you have a whopping vocabulary section of 4 words: numbered treaties, assimilation, residential schools, and official language. And we are going to start with the chapter concept of people and policies. And a policy has 2 meanings: the understandings about the way a country should be run, and then the formal policy, where it lays out the plans of action to achieve specific goals. A policy, or policies, has the power to affect in both negative and in positive ways. So this is all about Western Canada, and we're going to be taking a look at the government policies and the people of the West in Western Canada. And we're going to go back few lessons ago where we talked about the national policy. And the national policy, that was the main idea to help Canada grow into a strong nation. So there was a 3-pronged approach to the national policy. The first one was we need to settle the West. That's our immigration policy. We're going to bring immigrants in. We have land in Western Canada. That land needs to be developed, so we need to develop the West, thereby encouraging immigration. Then we need to build a railway. This is prong number 2 of the national policy. This is the transportation policy. We need a railway to get from one coast to the other coast so we can move people, and we can move resources, and we can move goods back and forth, back and forth. That will ensure a strong nation. Then we need to protect our Canadian manufacturers. We need to encourage Canadians to buy Canadian-made goods, so we are going to set tariffs on foreign goods. That should encourage Canadians to buy Canadian goods. That is the economic policy, the 3rd prong of the national policy. All 3 of those taken together: immigration, transportation, economics, that will grow and make Canada a strong nation. And those policies helped create a new society here in the West. There's always a but, though, isn't there? There's always a but. But we've got many perspectives here in the West. And the national policy did have many different perspectives, just like anything has multiple perspectives. And it's not a one-thing-fit-all approach. People are going to have their own concerns. People are going to have their own worries. People are going to have their own beliefs and their own ideas. Some will be for, and some will be against, and some will be a combination of both. And here are some of the perspectives from the West. So let's say we're going to take a look at this. I stole this right out of your textbook. The Francophone doctor is going to worry about losing their language and their culture. There's so many newcomers coming into the West. Not many of them speak French. That's a fair worry to have. A Métis grandmother: we keep moving west to find land, but there is no place left to go now. The national policy is encouraging immigrants to come and take up all of the land. They sold the land, the Canadian government sold the land to these immigrants. A Ukrainian girl might say that she's excited to be in this new country because her dad says that they'll soon have a farm of their own. And she's excited because what's this going to be like? Okay, so there's a positive. So they're coming in. This immigrant child is coming in. A Chinese store owner has been working on the railway, and it's hard. Now he hopes that he can bring the rest of his family over from China and start a small business. And that's because of the national policy. It's encouraging immigration. So the Chinese store owner is going to be in a positive, viewing the national policy in a positive view. And a Woodlands Cree is told that there are many different people coming to move onto their land. And now they are worried about what is going to happen to their land with all of these immigrants that are coming over. One policy, the national policy, a three-pronged approach, immigration, transportation, economics, many different perspectives on how it should be implemented and how its outcome is going to be. All right, I want you to head over to your notebook and complete the questions for this part of the chapter.